What is going on? Long time no video. I haven't really made any videos for a while. I've made a couple of little like Instagram reels and whatnot of the progress I've been doing on the truck. And I guess this is a video to update on where things are on the truck. I started making a video and then I realized it was kind of old. I hadn't done really any videos since this video that I'm currently working on. So I wanted to, I guess, say what was going on in the video and whatnot while I'm editing it, or I guess before I show it. I basically get into working on the engine bay. I went through and cleaned up a bunch of welds that I didn't like, that were ugly, that I didn't really do the first time. So I ended up stripping down the whole bay, not totally, but scuffing it up, getting rid of all the old welds. And then I go in and fit the radiator how I want the radiator sitting, because I'm notching the slam panel or upper radiator panel. And then I get into basically shaving the holes for the hood base that sits right in the middle. I shave the holes. I put some bolts through and basically welded them on. So I get into doing that in the video, but anywho, I'll come back and once that's all done, and then I'll show you where I'm currently at now. Basically the bay is the bay I went through. Once I did all the work, is I epoxied it and then I sprayed high build on it, and that's where it's sitting right now. So I need to go back through and sand that. It's been at least a month since that's been done, so I need to go back through and sand that, and then it will be ready for sealer and then base and clear coat. The outside of the truck still needs to be sanded for sealer, base coat, clear coat, which is not a big deal. I got into doing other stuff. But I will throw in a couple reels that I did for Instagram. In case you haven't seen them on Instagram, I'll throw them up on here just to show the stuff I've done. Did the underside of the hood and whatnot, cleaned that up, got that ready, and then I got a surprise for you. Also, dealing with color. So anywho, let's get into the video, and yeah, I'll see you in a minute. Alright, quick little video, show you what I'm working on. I went ahead and welded in the lower bolts for the radiator hold down. Got one there, and then I put a ground bolt here, and then I welded in some tabs to hold the fuel rail lines. I plan on having the lines come up through, basically come up through around there, tuck under here, and then I'm just gonna have them pop out here and go to the fuel rail. Now what I'm working on is because that's where the lower bolts mount. Now I have these tabs on here. On my Blue Rabbit there was two screws. There was a screw through here and a screw through here that went through the top radiator support. I bent up these brackets which I showed you. They look similar to these. I ended up making some out of thicker stock, but they look similar to these, just a little bit thicker. I plan on welding them to the underside here, and then they'll be basically like this. So a bolt will go through, there'll be a rubber grommet here, and then tighten up there like that. And they're a little forgiving, so if I go to put the radiator in and I need to bend it out of the way just a little bit, and they're still easy to get to here. The only issue is I'd have to take the grill out to get to them, but that's no big deal. So that's what I'm going to be working on, is I'm going to throw the radiator in, see how it sits, get it in position where I would like it, and then weld these in. I'll give you a view of what it looks like underneath. You can see the one bolt, the lower, so I'll put a nut on there, probably a grommet, and then washer, and then a nut, and then I have, you can see there, the little bracket that I put in, and then the radiator tucks under. I had to notch a little bit, and then I had to notch a little bit of this and clear the grill a little bit, but it's no big deal, you can't even tell. And the other side, you see the same thing. And then you can see the notch for the cap. And the radiator. This setup was basically in my Blue Rabbit that I had. When I got it back, I stripped the engine down, basically the engine management, and then basically the base stuff, and that's what I'm throwing back in here. Just doing things a little bit different as far as how I'm setting everything up, but this is one of them. Trying to figure out if I want to do the wiring for the engine harness on one side, and then the wiring for like the headlights and stuff on the other. I haven't decided what I want to do with there. The harness that I have, it's already made up, but it used to come out like where the stock one, and then run along the frame horn, and then kind of tuck under. It didn't really go on the outside and hide it as much as I want this one. So I'm either gonna have to get a new harness and then cut and splice everything, or I'm gonna have to get and lengthen the one I got. It's kind of up in the air, trying to figure out what I want to do. I only think they come in 8-foot lengths now. I'll have to double check to see if I can find another 12-foot, because that's what we ordered before. So I'll have to see what I can find. Hopefully that sounded okay, wasn't too loud, and I didn't rush through everything I said, because don't want to make the video drag on, and trying to make things understandable for everybody what I'm actually doing. So hopefully it all makes sense. That's where I'm at. Pulled the truck out, blew it off outside, took the plastic I had on there off, brought it back inside, spun it around so it's facing the front so I can have my fans sucking the air out. Then masked it up, and yeah, I think I'm close to epoxying it. I still have to clean it and all that, but I'll do that later. I'll try to either do it later tonight or tomorrow for sure. Then I can epoxy it, let it sit for a day, and then start doing filler work. Yeah, that's where I'm at. All right, so I just put it back in epoxy. Not much else to say. Next I can start doing the filler work. I don't know how much filler work I'm going to do. There's not a ton that needs it. Mostly up by the areas that I welded. I'm going to probably do reinforced filler slightly and then go back over it with the light stuff. So yeah, it's an epoxy. Let's go. All right, welcome back. So I ended up getting paint for the truck. I've been wanting this color for quite some time, ever since Chris Qualwell, him and his wife did his Rabbit, this manila green. The build was called Jersey. Ever since I saw that color, I always wanted it. Since then, I know recently other people have painted their truck this color. I know there's a couple that are this color. I've talked to online about that. One guy actually painted his himself. I can't think of his name, but I know there are several people out there I've contacted about painting theirs and whatnot. But I ended up picking the color manila green, and here is the can opening up. So yeah, and the paint I ended up getting is it's a motobase paint. I know the guys on the SPI forum talk about them a lot. Chad's Paint Supply, which is somewhat local here in Michigan. It's a little south of where I am. He actually sells it and ships it, and he was about $300 a gallon cheaper than the chromobase stuff I was looking at. That was the only stuff local they could get it, and they couldn't find the formula or whatever for any other brand. So I ended up going with them because they actually had it, decent price, and he shipped it right to my door basically. And then the clear that I'm using is it's just the SPI Universal Clear. Both of these are high solid materials. They both mix 1-to-1. You can reduce the clear coat. They don't recommend it, but people do it and don't have any issues. And I've never really shot either out of a legit paint gun other than the epoxy that I've done so far and the high build. And so far what I've done is it's looking really good. I ended up spraying the inside of the truck, the back wall, the B pillars, the A pillar, and the roof inside. I ended up spraying that. I did a coat of sealer, let that flash off for SPI says up to 2 hours to 18 hours they recommend. Some people do less. It just depends. The main thing is you want the solvents to flash off but not do it too long where it's not effective. So I ended up let that flash off for a good hour, and then I put my base on. Did 2 coats of base, let it flash off, slow reducer, let it flash off, decent amount in between the two. And then I did, I actually waited overnight and then did the clear. That's what a lot of people recommend because you want to give it plenty of time for the solvents to flash off, come out, so you don't have like the solvent pop and whatnot. So I will show videos of both of that right now. Crudely masked. Inside's all ready to spray sealer, and then I can spray some base. I'm only gonna do the A pillars, the roof, B pillars, and then the back wall. So I don't plan on doing any of the floor. I have some other stuff I'm going to put down on the floor. I need to clean it up, wipe it down, and then let it sit. I have the sealer inducing over there, and then it's ready to go. Sealer is on. It's just basically a piss coat of sealer. I'm gonna let this sit for an hour or two and then come back Shoot some color. Alright, I have the clear on. I did 2 coats. I managed to get a little run on the top side. It's kind of hard to see right here. Kind of hard to see on camera, but it's there. I only did that because I think I couldn't see what I was doing because I don't have my glasses on. Wearing goggles, being in this confined space kind of sucked. So, but other than that, it's glossy. It's reflective. I'm stoked on that for the outside, or for the inside, I mean. I only had one issue with the inside. On the back wall, I kind of sucked painting in the inside of the truck because I didn't film any of it. I only filmed like before and then after. But I didn't try filming any of it because I was nervous about doing it as it is, and I didn't want to add filming and trying to film it all in there as well. I didn't want it to complicate things and too much thinking in my head, so I just didn't film any of it. But being inside there, I had the windows and doors off so it can, like, the fumes would go out, but I ended up wearing goggles so I couldn't wear my glasses. And then I had not a ton of light. I ended up making my own gun light, which I'll get into that later. But I ended up making my own gun light and doing as best as I could and spraying, and I actually did really good. The only part that I have like a slight run or sag is the back wall right under the glass. I sprayed, I must have went back over it too many times, and I have like a little run sag, which is maybe about 10 inches, but that'll clean up. I'm not worried about that at all. That's beside the point. But I did that, and then I ended up doing the underside of the hood and the inside of the doors. Same process. Sealer, waited an hour, did the base, waited, did a second coat of base, waited till the next day, and then cleared it. And I'll show you the pieces here in a second. I ended up using, I have an Astro Euro HE gun, the 1.3 tip. I ended up using this, and I really like this compared to the Harbor Freight purple guns. I mean, that's like night and day using this thing. But I bought this just to use on the paint itself. I really like this gun, going off of like people using it online and their recommendations. I don't plan on doing this as more than just a hobby, so I wanted to get something decent but not spend too much and then be stuck with a $500-600 paint gun that I'm only going to use a couple times. So that was the reason why I got this. It was either this or like the Spectra, or I think there's I could have ordered like from the UK. I could have got like the Vilibus FLG, I think it's called. I know that one's a high gun people recommend, but that one's like $200 or so. This was like $100. So I'm really happy with this. Plus I got the 3M adapter, which, you know, a lot of this stuff I could sell later if need be. I'm sure somebody would buy it, but right now I plan on just keeping this. But I'm super happy with this. But anywho, let me get into showing you some of the pieces. Alright, so here's the paint. All in all, I think it came out really good. I'm super happy with this. The inside of the truck, which it's kind of covered up, so I can't really get in there right now. I'll try to do a video, but I mean, the paint, it's like super wet looking. Came out really good. I really can't complain too much about doing it in this dirty garage. I mean, there's only like a couple areas where, I guess, not that I'm not happy with, but like a bug landed, a gnat landed in here, like right after I did the first coat, a bug landed in there, and I tried to pick it off to recoat it. There's one right there that's trying to land in here. I tried to pick it off to get rid of it, but I should have just buried it, I guess, and left it be. You can kind of see it in there. But other than that, I mean, there's really not too much trash in here. There's a slight orange peel, but not like crazy orange peel. It's hard to even pick it up. I mean, it looks so good on camera. And I pulled the tape off, like I wanted to get it off like somewhat quick. I didn't want the tape hard to pull off between the two, creating like a funny edge. Oh, and I did these also. The clear I just did earlier today, so it's pretty. I haven't gone through and done anything on it. I don't even know if I'm going to even mess with doing anything on it. Just gonna leave it as is. I think that's plenty good enough for the inside of the truck. But yeah, anywho, thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next one. I'm still working on the truck.